Good morning. We're obviously entering into the competitive phase of the Nations League where there's must wins or must avoid defeats. So be careful of that today. Spain v Switzerland, for example, is a dead rubber. And I used that kind of technique yesterday in hinting at you to lay the draw in both the England and Greece matches, with ideally both teams wanting to avoid a playoff. And indeed, that's what we got second half as it came alive. Let's have a look at these matches yesterday. I did warn you about the Israelis. If you can keep France quiet at France when France are 1.14 favourite, obviously that defence has had some work done to it, and they did it again against Belgium. But question marks regarding any of Belgium's motivating factor, something you have to make sure you're aware of today if you're trading the Nations League. So, insurance, perhaps, I would have had to insist upon it had I done a trade in this match. Italy and France, it's all a dead rubber. Not a dead rubber, it's a derby-style match for me, and it's a match I don't tend to play because any old result, the market can't even split these two really, and they actually put Italy as favourite. Rabiot was the difference, it seemed, yesterday. Unlucky, you'd have to argue. It's a tighter match than that suggests, with that goal being an own goal. So it was all nice and quiet at 1-1, but a very quick response from the Italians. Austria-Slovenia, sloppy for the Austrians. A late concession against Melania Trump's Slovenia. Gnezda Serin with that one. I wouldn't have laid Austria late at all. England and Ireland pivoted on that red card, laying that draw at the beginning of the second half in both of these matches. I put forward on Telegram, not with a whole heap of confidence, but it's an obvious angle. They want to avoid that playoff. They've actually, England, both England and Greece, the in-play stats were emphatic. Ireland, first half, no shots on target, no shots off target, no corners. Greece were dominating Finland in the first half, 7 shots off, 7 corners, the key stats for those. Laying the draw second half, you've got a motivating factor, and the red card will take the gift. Greece got the breakthrough as well. Norway and Kazakhstan, I put forward a hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Nice bit of Miss Marple. You're expecting 4+ goals with a 1.09 shot. You've got Erling Haaland, the divine ponytail, part 2. So why don't you have a punt on him to score a hat-trick? That's the only real way to get some value out of this play. And off we go. Hat-trick hero Haaland. So read the research. Have a punt if you fancy it. You'll have to go bookmakers for these specialist bets like a hat-trick for Haaland. 2 of them in the first half, so we had to wait a little bit. You've got to be a little worried that the manager would take Haaland off at half-time with the job done already, and Pep Guardiola probably in his ear hole saying, come on mate, rest the divine ponytail, we need him in the league. And 71st minute we had to wait for the hat-trick. And my other call yesterday, Real Oviedo, absolutely banged it out. No worries at all. I did say the potential for 2 goals for Real Oviedo yesterday. This is what a banker looks like if you read the research. Beautiful, huge odds really, relative to the expectation of them scoring 2 goals yet again at home. Straight out the blocks, no real trade, but banker material. And I'll be pointing out more bankers like this as the season progresses, because we're now in that stage of the season where I can properly research matches using soccer stats, but it'll only just be on 1 or 2. But you can see the difference that a little bit of soccer stats research makes. It brings the whole match into complexion. We could have taken Cartagena on, but again with that insurance, which would have paid out. It would have been a bit of a stretch to imagine Cartagena scoring a second goal, knowing where they are in the standings. But this is a crucial win. Probably taking them off bottom now, I would suspect. No, they remain bottom. But that's why you would take on that 1-0 lead. Are you really going to expect a second consecutive goal scored by bottom of the league. So that would have been a break-even insurance play there. Zaragoza and Malaga, I did warn you, 5 clean sheets in 6 matches for Malaga. That means that 0-0 is in play, even though they're not favourite at all. This is attack v defence. Obviously, Malaga got a new defensive coach or something because they are clicking defensively. And that's the value of this research as well. It would pinpoint you to that clean sheetery, meaning that 0-0 at half-time. You might not want to take it on. 0-0, clean sheet, clean sheet, clean sheet, clean sheet, clean sheet. This is the Copa del Rey. Take that out of the equation. And we're in La Liga 2, and we're keeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive clean sheets in La Liga 2. I warned you about that yesterday. Going to be a tough nut to crack, Malaga, this season. Look at that. Not even favourite. So I enjoyed the research there. Real Oviedo, the absolute bankers. On to today, and it's English Professional Development League. Dare I remind you? Well, let me let soccerstats.com remind you of where your allegiances should lie in the English Professional Development League. English Professional Development League. I don't know if it's under England or English. There it is. 70% over 2.5 goals, 87% over 1.5 goals. That should be where your mind is with these 3 matches. You could check just on recent head-to-head form whether overs have been popping in. Click on H2H. Have a look through. Yeah, 2 goals minimum is fine for me for an over 2.5 goal play, particularly if they're scored first half. You're in and you're out. Similar story here. Scoring or conceding 2 goals regularly, this Charlton side. So that looks good for goals. Just a little check like that in a league that 7 out of 10 matches finish over 2.5 goals. African Cup of Nations, I wouldn't be getting involved in personally myself, but my immediate focus would be on odds-on favourites, particularly with home advantage like we have here. Morocco and Lesotho, you saw yesterday. Erling Haaland was the value for me. Do we have an Erling Haaland in the Moroccan side? I don't think they have the lineups just yet. I can't recall the name of any Morocco striker, but that's an angle for the future. If they've got a standout striker and you're in a match where you're expecting 4+ goals, go for the striker to score the hat-trick, as we did with Haaland. That's the value. So this football trading profit is not just about trading, about finding value plays as well for you. Takes a little bit of imagination, but if you're expecting goals, the value will lie in figuring that out. For example, starting with 5-0, any 3 scorelines between maybe 4-0 and 9-0, you've got a really good chance of it coming in. We're expecting a clean sheet as well from Morocco. So these pick themselves, and you'll notice North Africa, not necessarily for these lot, but they do dominate African football, apart from Senegal, who are up there or thereabouts. Not going to be top priority, the African Cup of Nations, I'm afraid. We'll work our way down. We do have the Nations League beginning. Do watch out for permutations today. I've tried to point them out to you where I can. Croatia, for example, only need a draw. So just be careful. They'll take a 0-0 today. Must win for Scotland. So lay any late draw in that match. They did require a red card, though, against Croatia to get that 1-0 win. So they might need some help, the Scots, in unpacking a goal at least. San Marino need a draw. Leichtenstein a win. So that draw, I think, would be vulnerable late on, particularly with Leichtenstein, I think, favourite in this match. Serbia must win. Denmark only draw. So again, we've got contrasting fortunes for both of these teams. If it's a draw late on, lay it at low odds. I would be looking at 1.09, 1.06 to keep your liability very, very low indeed. Lay the draw at those odds. You can have a liability of £2 on each, and you would still come out with 50+ quid. Where they need to win, use time pressure and lay that draw late. Nothing to motivate Cyprus, so be careful with that. Romania have secured a top 2 spot, so they might not be fully wound up either. But this is the kind of match you're looking at, all to play for both teams. So take that draw on late on. It's must-win territory. Croatia and Portugal, already mentioned that above. I think a draw is all that Croatia require. Pork and cheese have been superb as usual. Kosovo and Lithuania must win for both. That's one you'll be targeting again. Any late draw, as we do at the end of seasons when teams need stuff. Target them late on. Liechtenstein, San Marino, you can see, like the Moldova match the other day against Andorra, it would be a real stretch for me to imagine a 0-0 in a San Marino match. So any late draw, you lay it, particularly knowing that Liechtenstein could do with a win as well. So that has the look of a good tradable match about it, doesn't it? We've got angles today in these internationals. Northern Ireland just need a point today, so watch out. They could be playing for a 0-0 draw. They certainly won't want to concede and try to dig out a 1-1. With Luxembourg having been very tight, Bulgaria only beat them 1-0 recently. Poland and Scotland, it's must win for the Scots, who did beat Croatia, care of that red card, but they did get the job done. Poland are lacking Robert Lewandowski, and even when he's in the side, they have trouble scoring goals. So this could be a good opportunity for Scotland, but they are famously blunt in attack. They need Archie Gemmill up front again, and Ali McCoist. Romania and Cyprus, you know already. Romania, it's not a must win. They've got a top 2 berth, so it's not a bust a gut. We need to win this. A win would be nice. It could take them first. Cyprus, I don't think they've got much to play for. I think they know where they are already. Serbia and Denmark, we know already. I think it's okay for the Serbians. Well, Serbians need something. Denmark only need a draw, so just be careful with that. Will the Danes be playing out for a draw here? So 0-0 is a draw, isn't it? That's what makes it difficult to take on that 0-0. If this was a must-win for both sides, you would be confident, I think, like we did yesterday with Greece and England, laying that second half 0-0/draw. Spain and the Swiss, I think this is a must-win for the Swiss, isn't it? I've mentioned that above. No, Switzerland have been relegated, which is disappointing for such what is usually a reliable unit. So Spain, do they have any motivating factor? I think this is a dead rubber. So the only thing really is for Spain to just cement it in front of home support. That's the only motivating factor. But please don't play dead rubbers. What's going to happen with you this evening is you're going to be tempted into here because Spain are likely to dominate. But the killer instinct is not there. They don't have to win. And when you don't have to win, you don't tend to win. So just be careful with that. In-play stats will tempt you in, I'm sure. So that's it for today. It's a competitive coupon. I do normally take Monday off because I work on the weekends. This is a tempting coupon, though, I must say. We've got what we need, which is a competitive element in the vast majority of these matches. The only real dead rubber is the Spain and Switzerland match. When you've got motivation factors like this, it's the end of the match which interests me. Laying any late draw or laying any scoreline which will stop the other side from getting what they need. For example, if they're 1-0 down and need a draw, you might want to lay the team 1-0 up late on. So plenty of those permutations this evening. Make sure you're with teams with motivation and avoid dead rubbers. I might see members late on. No promises, though. I do like to try and take a Monday off. I do have a life outside of this, you see. So I might see you later on. It's certainly a compelling fixture. Professional Development League, I will try to do some overs plays on it and just to show you, because it is a 70% over 2.5 goal league. And this could be good for you to try out overs. You could even just highlight this here, look at the results tomorrow. See where the first goal was scored, whether you could have waited 15 minutes in the first half and look for a goal before half time, or whether you're taking on a 0-0 second half by backing over 1.5 goals at over evens, looking for that single goal only between 46th and 75th minute, 70th minute. What we're looking for as the weekend approaches will be this kind of quality banker. So watch out for that with the return of league football at the end of the week. Have a great day, and I might see members of footballtradingprofits.com on Telegram a bit later on. But like yesterday, any plays will just have an element of caution about them.